Welcome back to Codin. So guys, I hope you all are doing safe and taking care of yourself. So as continue the series of C++, I'm going to today explain you about function overloading as well as constructor overloading. Like what is the need of function overloading, why do we need constructor overloading, and what is the basic purpose of these things, and what is the actual use of using function overloading as well as constructor overloading. I'll be going to tell you each and every step with the help of a detailed example. So guys, if you're like new to my channel, please do like it, share it, and also subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to press the bell icon so that you get regular update whenever I post a new video. And I'm also timely updating some useful hacks on my Instagram page. The link is in the bio. You can also follow me on my Instagram page and check these out videos that are already available on my channel, and also learn from it. And do let me know in the comment section that what kind of content that you want, and also the videos that you want. So guys, if you like the content that I post, please do like it, share it, and also subscribe to my channel. So let's get started with the video without wasting any time and making you understand what do we mean by function overloading and constructor overloading. Coming to the very first part, now we are going to use two things in understanding this, that is function overloading and constructor overloading. So first of all, what do we mean by overloading? Overloading basically means to add and more and one thing into some single thing. So basically this concept will basically work upon polymorphism concept. In the polymorphism concept in classes we have learned one function performing two or more than tasks. So what is function overloading first of all? A function name having several definitions that are differentiated by the number of type of their arguments is known as overloading a function. Means basically what is function overloading, which the name of the function will be same, just the difference will be the type of the arguments and the type of the data type, that is the return type of that particular function. Now how do we define function? What is the purpose of function overloading? We are all going to understand this with the help of a detailed syntax and also the example program. So let's understand this with the help of a program. Coming to the very first program to understand what is the concept of function overloading. So as I told you that whenever I'm talking about function overloading, in which what we are going to use, we are going to use the same function name. So here as you can see, whenever we want to create a function, first of all we need to define the return type of the function, then we need to define the type of the function, means the name of the function, and then you have to define the types of arguments that you want in the function. So here I'm going to just directly define the function as well as give the prototype and everything and definition at all at once before the main function. So if you do not know how do we define a function, what is the ways to define a function, how do we work with function, you can watch my previous video in which I have already explained you about how do we define a function, what is the purpose of defining a function, and how we can use a function in C++. Now, whenever I'm talking about a function overloading concept, first of all need to find out the steps that are involved in function overloading. First of all, you need to search for an exact match, means the same function and things that we want to perform into some another function. You need to find a match to that. Then you have to perform the standard conversions that whatever you can perform, and then you need to define it accordingly. Now whenever I'm talking about a function that we need to define, so here I'm defining some function which are giving the principal, time and rate. Now what we are going to use over here, I'm going to use the function overloading concept. So in the function overloading concept, what it will actually happen, I will be use the same function name, the amount, you can see the function name is present over here. So I will be using the amount function name here only, but the task that I will perform with the function will be different. So here you can see in the first function I have given the price, time and rate. So whenever I am just performing a single function and running that function into the program, so that we called it as a default argument. Means whatever the arguments that are be passed over here, these are called as the default argument. So here you can see I have passed three arguments: price, time and the rate. So these are the default function argument. So whenever I'm going to use this is basically a simple function that I've defined. So I'm going to use the int main function, which the int main function I'm going to use the particular calling of this function and displaying the desired output. So I've taken this as case 1. So in which we are what we are using, we are using the default argument whichever will be passed to the function. Now it is your choice whether you want to give the default arguments only already in the parameters that you have defined above at the function, or you want to pass it the time of calling. So here you can see that whenever I'm going to call this function, so I've written the function name, then I've given the first of all the principal amount, then I've given the time, then I've given the rate. Now it is your choice whether you want to define it already or you want to pass it as the calling time. So these are all the functions I defined. Then I'm going to run this function. So what is the output that is going to display to me? It will display me the principal amount, the interest and everything what I have ever have used. So this is the desired output in first case whenever I am using a function with defining the principal, rate, time and interest and everything. Now what we are going to use, we are going to use this same amount function, but we are going to perform function overloading. So whenever I am talking about function overloading task, so what is the thing, we will just change the return type if we want to change, but I'm not going to change the return type in this case. I'm just going to show you with a change in parameters, the function will perform the same task, but the parameters will be different. So in this case, I'm just going to give two parameters. First is the float price. That is, I've taken as PRIC. Then I've taken the int time. Now it is your choice, whatever type of variables you want to take, you can take the similar variable also. So I've taken the same name of the function name, amount here, and the previous one also amount. So I'm just going to copy and paste the data of the content. That will help me just run it accordingly and show me the content, means whatever I want to print, because the print part is same, the principal, time and rate. Now here you can see I've just given principal as well as the time. So in this case I do not have the rate content, so for that I've given a rate over here, that is 0.08. So I want to use this part into this function so that it helps me use the rate accordingly, and in the formula I've just given price into time into that specific rate. Now I'm going to use a cout statement in the main function, in which I'm going to display it as a case 2. So I'm now going to use a cout function, that is case 2, and then I'm again going to call this function, that is the amount function. So in this amount function, what you can see, you have just passed two parameters. So I have passed two parameters. Whenever I pass two parameters, so what I need to do, just pass the two parameters. In this case I need to pass the parameters, that is the principal amount, and the second part is the time. So I pass these two parameters, then I'm going to end it with a semicolon. So as you can see, I passed these two characters, but the function name is same. So whenever the function name is same, that is called as a function overloading. Second type of overloading concept that I'm going to explain you in this video is, that is constructor overloading. I've used these two concepts because it is easy for you to understand the function overloading also and constructor overloading, and relate it and easily understand that what do we mean by constructor overloading and what do we mean by a function overloading. So when I'm talking about constructor overloading, now as we all know, we have different kind of constructor. I have already declared in my previous video and explained you everything about the parameterized constructor, the default constructor, the copy constructor and other kind of constructor that are available in C++. Now when I am talking about a constructor overloading, with there's a similar way of the function, we can overload the constructor also. When I am talking about overloading of the constructor, it will have different numbers and different types of initial values. Now the type will be changed, like the parameters will be changed and the things will be changed according to that constructor. So let us understand the constructor overloading concept with the help of a desired example. Now coming to the very next example, that is the constructor overloading. So when I'm talking about constructor overloading, you know that we have three types of constructors: default constructor, parameterized constructor, copy constructor. So in this case, I have declared a class is deposit, in which I am going to declare some similar values which I have declared in the function. So I am just going to make it in a similar way, but in this case I am going to use it as a constructor loading. So here you can see I have defined a principal, that is for the PRIN's principal, then I have defined the time, then I defined the rate, and then I'm going to define a total interest in whichever the total amount will be calculated. So the whole total interest will be calculated. Now this is the way through which we are going to implement the constructor overloading. So now we know that whenever we create an object, the constructor is invoked at the same moment. So first of all, we are going to define a default constructor. In the default constructor, I'm just going to take the name of the class, and then in that I'm going to define the values of all the three is equals to 0. Means whenever the default constructor is been invoked, the value of the principal, rate and time will be 0 for everything. So in this case, I've just defined the value as 0. Then in the second case, I've taken a constructor in which I'm going to pass some parameters. So in this case, I've taken some parameters in which I've taken long p, comma int t, comma float r. That is the for parameter principal, then for the time, and then for the rate. In this, I'm going to define the principal into p, the time into the t, and the rate into the specifically r variable. So whatever the value will be passed into that parameters, whenever I'm going to create the object with a parameterized constructor, all these value will be included into that particular constructor. Now after that, I'm going to take another constructor in which I'm going to use long p and comma that float r or t, whatever you want to use, that is your choice. So in this case I've used float r, means in this case I've skipped the part that is the time. In the previous case also, when we used using function overloading, I skipped a part, but the function name was similar. Then I'm going to define it a value that principal will be this, and then as in this case I've defined skipped the part that is time, but I have a variable, so the constructor needs to know what is the value of the time. So I'm just defining the time already here, that it will be 2 years. Then I'm going to define the rate equals to r, that is the whatever value is passed at the time of invocation of the object and whatever value I have passed to the parameters. Then I'm going to define some function in which I want to calculate the part. So for that I've used this void calculate amount, in which what I'm going to use, I'm going to use the total interest variable, which will help me calculate the interest, that is principal plus the principal into time into rate and divided by 100. This will be the desired format that I'm going to use. So whenever each and every function will get this call calculate amount called, so it will calculate the principal amount and everything and just show me the desired total interest amount and total amount that is available. Now it is your choice whether you want to calculate the total amount or you want to calculate the total interest. So I've taken this, that is divided by 100, this in the calculate amount form. Then I'm going to use the display function, in which I'm going to display all the contents, that is principal, time, rate, and also the total amount, or you can say the total interest. In this case I've written as a total interest variable, but what we are actually calculating, we're calculating the total amount. So now when I've taken the principal, I'm going to display that principal accordingly. Then I'm going to display the period of investment, that is the years. Then I'm going to display the rate of interest, and I'm going to display the total amount. Basically, what does it mean? Everything, whatever I have included into it, I'm just going to display all the contents with the help of a display function. Now, till this point, you are clear that we have defined some function and with some constructor. Now you can see I have defined over here 3 constructors. Now basically what does it mean defining a constructor within a program? That is called as constructor overloading. Now why it is overloading? Because the types of all these constructors are different, but they are performing one single task, that is the calculation of the principal interest, or you can say the principal amount, and according to they are varying. In the function overloading case, what we were doing, we were performing all these tasks with the help of function overloading. Now we are using a class. For the class case, what we prefer to do, we prefer to use constructors. We can also use functions also, but constructors are more preferred when we want to perform such kind of task. So this is the implementation of the constructor I have done over here and defined the display function. So I'm now going to end this particular class and ending the definition with the help of a semicolon. So after that I have defined the semicolon. I'm going to move to the main function. So in the main function, as soon as I will create an object, so what it will happen, the default constructor will be invoked automatically. As we have already learned in the previous video that whenever I create an object, the constructor gets invoked. So I'm going to define here some objects. D1 I have not given any parameters because it does not involve any parameters, it's default constructor. Then I have given D2 in which I have involved some parameters. So I'm going to pass that actual parameter whatever I want to use into that D2 function. Now it is your choice whatever parameters you want to give. What is the value that you want to give? You can declare that value accordingly. So I given here 2000, and then I'm going to give the time period, and also then I'm going to give the interest period. So this is the way through which we are going to use it. Then I'm going to define the D3 function. In the D3 object, in which we are going to define the another data types parameters that I want to use into that particular part. So we are going to use this with the help of a parameters that I pass. Then what I'm going to use, I'm just going to call these functions, that is d1 dot calculate amount, then d2 dot calculate amount, then d3 dot calculate amount. That is up to your choice. That first of all you want to call that calculate amount. After that you want to print it. That is up to your choice whenever you want to call. So first of all I'm doing what I'm going to do, calculate amount first, calculate amount 2, calculate amount 3 all at once. Then after that what I'm going to use, I'm going to use the display function in which I'm going to call all the objects, that is d1, d2, d3, and call that particular functions. Then I'm going to then you can see on the screen that is a desired output will be displayed. Now there are some of the points also that you need to remember while declaring overloading function is any two functions, a set of overloading function must have different arguments. Number two, overloading function with argument list of same type based on the return type alone is called as an array. Then the member functions cannot be overloaded solely on the basis of being static and the other non-static. Third part is the type def definition do not define new types. They introduce synonyms of the existing type. They do not affect the overloading mechanism. So these points you need to keep in mind whenever you are using overloaded functions, because if you are using these points then probably it's going to affect it. And if you do not understand any of the point, do let me know in the comment section. I'm there to help you out. So guys, if you like the content I posted, to like it, share it, and also subscribe to my channel. And please support as much as possible. Thank you so much for watching and have a lovely day. Meet you in my next video.